Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Welcome to a webinar which is dedicated to TalentCraft. TalentCraft is one of our newest features in TalentLMS, and the purpose for TalentCraft is to help you create amazing courses at no time and, of course, with minimal effort. All of that will be done with the power of AI as well. So stay with us to see how you can supercharge your courses with TalentCraft's content and AI capabilities. Let's get to know each other. I'm Theo, I'm part of the Customer Enablement team, and my goal is to help customers make the most out of the portal and find success with TalentLMS. And I have with me my good colleague, Nick.
Hi there from me as well. I'm Nick. I'm also part of the Customer Enablement team. And basically, I'm really excited to talk to you today about AI, TalentCraft, and see how we can leverage that to supercharge our courses.
And you'll see all of the details that you need to know about how to work with TalentCraft. But before that, let me just remind you, this webinar is being recorded, so you will receive the recording once the session is over, and you're more than welcome to share it with anybody who wants to learn more about TalentCraft and, of course, get their questions answered. Talking about questions, we are here to answer your questions. So use the Q&A button in your meeting controls on Zoom, and feel free to share your questions. You can do it anonymously as well if you want, but we would love to know your name so we can have a direct conversation with you. We will aim to answer as many questions as possible during the session. Behind the scenes, we have Anastasia, who will also help with answering questions, but me and Nick as well will do our best to answer as many questions live as possible. So send them over the moment that you think of them. So what is on the menu today? What are we going to cover? First of all, what is TalentCraft? We'll show you what is TalentCraft and why it is important to explore TalentCraft in your TalentLMS portal. How to create courses with AI-generated content. We live in the era of AI now, and we want to make the most out of it with tasks like creating training. And of course, how to use your own material with TalentCraft. TalentCraft doesn't only rely on AI. This is a great tool to use, but of course, you can use your own content to provide your courses made by TalentCraft. And lastly, we will dedicate time to answer your questions. And again, feel free to send us as many questions as possible so we can get to them and answer them promptly. Now, what is TalentCraft? Well, TalentCraft is an intuitive AI-powered content authoring tool native to TalentLMS, so you can only find it within TalentLMS. TalentCraft makes creation faster for your courses, easier, more enjoyable, and most importantly, it is suitable for desktop and mobile learning, so it works in any device you want to deliver your courses for. It has seamless content editor powered with AI, which means that you can create content that resonates with your learners using a comprehensive and diverse content library that will suit your need, no matter what your need is. And apart from contents with AI, you can create multimedia as well. So you don't need to have a dedicated image library to go with your courses and enhance your training. You can use AI for that. And with the right prompt, you can get TalentCraft to create your images for. And of course, it has handy ready-made templates, which are very easy to customize. What that means is that you don't have to start from scratch if you don't want to. You can use your templates that you can find in TalentCraft based on the popular use cases that you have. And of course, that will help you to have an already structured course, which you can alter, change, use your content, but already have a great template as your starting point. And finally, one of the most popular features that we are very proud of here in TalentLMS is the ability to import a document in TalentCraft and have TalentCraft do its magic and create the course for you. You'll see all of that in a moment. This is just the tip of the iceberg here. So I'm going to mute now and let Nick take over and start working with TalentCraft.
Perfect. So thanks a lot, Theo, for that. And let me really quick share my screen. And now you should be able to actually see my screen. Now, one of the best places to start, I think, is TalentCraft is something that you can see in the new interface of TalentLMS. Now I'm at the old interface, the one we have been used to, honestly. So how am I going to swap over to the new one? Well, you can do this as admin or instructor. Now, in our case, we're going to stay as instructor and new interface straight now. And you're going to see that actually I'm in the new interface. And as we said before, TalentCraft is something that you can use for your courses, but is not actually a course replacement. It is a unit within a course. So this means that we have to, first of all, go ahead and create a course so we can have a TalentCraft unit in here. This can be done either as an admin or as an instructor, but since we're an instructor anyway, let's go to our courses and we're going to click Add Course to create a new one. Now, first of all, we need to give it a name. So I'm thinking that maybe it's a good idea to go in here and call it, let's talk about TalentCraft, pretty much. So there we go. And one of the things I want to do for sure is that I actually want to go to the users of this course, and I want to be able to add Theo, because some things are going to be shown by me, but other things are going to be shown by Theo. So there he is. I'm just going to click on add, and now Theo is added to the course. Great. So we'll go back to editing and let's call it again. Let's talk about TalentCraft because I didn't save it before. And we will be ready to get started. Now, our course is ready. The only thing we have to do is to actually add TalentCraft. So add, and you see up here, TalentCraft. So I'm going to click on that. And you will see that we have 4 distinct options. And we can start from scratch, import from document, generate with AI, or use a template. Now, what we're going to do is actually do them in reverse. So Theo is going to start off first and talk about using a template, because this is the easiest way to get started with TalentCraft. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Theo is going to show you how to work with a template.
Great, thank you, Nick. So let's see what we can do with a template. First of all, what we should do is share my screen so that way you can see as well. There you go. Now, let's do this. Let's first find the course that Nick added me as a part. So what I'm going to do is just go to the courses. You see I'm logged in as an instructor, right? So let's go to the courses. And a very quick tip, if you would like to see which is the course that was most recently worked on, is to click on last updated. And there you go. That's what Nick just created. So let's click on it. And let's go to edit course. You see I'm already a part of the course. And once we edit, the very first thing that we need to do is add a TalentCraft unit. You see we already have one, which is what Nick used to show you just the starting point. But what I'm going to do, add TalentCraft. And now, as promised, we're going to start from the right side to the left. So all I'm going to do is click use a template. Now, we have lots of different templates that should match pretty much any use case that you have, right? So about understanding feedback, or presenting a product, or describing a company policy, or providing theories for selling to related sales teams, onboarding people, cybersecurity. Who doesn't need a cybersecurity course, right? So let's go and do one of the most popular use cases that we have here with our customers in TalentLMS. Onboarding a person. You have a new hire and you want to get them started on the right track. The moment that you click on the template, you have the option to go ahead and browse a little bit what's different sections, content types, if you want, you can have with TalentCraft. So as you see already, we can have images, titles, we can have text that looks like quotes, we can have regular text, and of course we can have videos. And then further down, we can have different images with text, and all the way further as well, we can have what we call here a process. So you can have different options showing of steps that somebody could use. That's a very interactive way to explain a process to somebody. You could have flashcards where you could have content or images in one side, flip them, and then have them show the content that you would like to associate with the other side of the card. And then further down as well, what we have is, again, more text, more images. You can have a carousel, you can have a grid as you do have here. And further down, you have tabs. This is called tabs. And it's a very good way as well to demonstrate different options. So instead of having bullet points, you can have different tabs that you can combine text, images with. So again, it's another way of providing more interactive learning. Further down, another set of tabs, and you could have notes, you could have charts and graphics, which is one of my favorite aspects of TalentCraft because they can be as interactive as you want them. So you see, for example, a pie chart here. You can hover and you can see information populating while you hover, or from the options here, you can click and you can see different ways that you can, of course, go and adjust, go and edit. And of course, you have all the options in the world to go to the left side and then choose different types of graphics. I'm going to choose donut because it's the afternoon here and I could use one with my coffee. But further down, you have one of my very, very, very favorite features of TalentCraft, which is called the labeled graphic. Now, what can you have here? You have an image. It can be a map. It can be something else. But here, taking the onboarding example, you can have a map where you can see, for instance, where the offices of your company are located. And you can add pointers where you can add the name, for example, of the state, the country, or information about it. And then you can do the same thing as well here. And the most important part is that people can click on them and then they will be able to just reveal the information. This is a really fun way of demonstrating something that you could do on a list. Now, I know that we haven't talked a lot about editing those. I'm going to be very quick here because Nick is going to show you every single option in detail later on. So if we want to choose that these tabs maybe are too much being right after the same type of content later, I can just go down here, hover, and then go down, and then I brought this up, which means I moved this one further down. If that's not the right thing at the end of the day and I don't want it, I can just delete, or I can clone if I want to create something as well. So let's delete that. Now, you'll see all of that in a moment. I just wanted to give you a very, very quick view of the template. But what I also want to focus on is that on the bottom here, you have a preview option. If I click on it, you can preview and see how your course, how your unit pretty much of that course will look in other devices. So we are on a computer right now, but if I click on the tablet, you see the ported version and you can click on buttons. As you can see, there's nothing stopping you from actually using it and previewing how everything works. Or you can do the landscape option, or you can do a mobile. Definitely, some people prefer training on the go. So TalentCraft works with any device. Or again, landscape, because for some people, that is a preferred way of going about the course. So you have a template, you can get started with that. You can work and edit and change the template as you need. And of course, you can preview at any given point. And if you want to go back, edit, and then continue working on your course. So that is just a template, but we have more options. So Nick, what we do have next?
Hey, thanks, Theo. So let me share again my screen. And you will see that I'm exactly at the same course that we were before. Now, let me just refresh it. And you might notice that the first unit was the one I created. This is the working template that Theo did, right? And this gives us a chance to also show that I can just click here and delete it. I will keep the template from Theo. I liked it. Here's the thing, though. Every time you create a different unit in TalentCraft, the system is going to call it TalentCraft unit. So maybe it's a good idea to click on the little three dots, and maybe you want to rename it. So in our case, we're going to call it template unit because Theo used the template. There we go. And now it's called template unit. I want to make a new TalentCraft unit, and I want to show you generate with AI. So I'm going to select this option. And now you're going to see I have a big empty page and just a little prompt here at the bottom. So what we're doing is we're asking AI, we're going to give it a prompt, and it's going to create for us a whole page. So I know a topic a lot of people like is handling support tickets and people who are interested in their companies and they're asking and they want feedback and support. So let's ask TalentCraft to give us its opinion about it. So we can say, generate a page about how to handle persistent tickets. There you go. And Now that I have this ready, I'll click on Start Creating. Now you see this is happening live. So the system is going to take its time to create everything I want. And obviously, slowly, it's creating different things. While we're waiting on it, just a tip I want to give you here is that when you want AI to generate something for you, I know a lot of people sometimes are a bit anxious on how, detailed this should be in their queries. Honestly, the best thing you can do is have your query be as detailed as possible. The AI generally works in a way where you want to have targeted queries to be able to get nice targeted answers from it. Now, here it's stop generating. And I know this because it is here and the AI has prompted me maybe if I want to create something else. So a lot of different things have been created. I have text, I have images, I have flashcards, I have a quote, I have a process, I have a mini quiz. So I have a lot of different units that were created here. Now, let's start with the image. I like the image, but I don't like it being here. Theo already showed you that you can move it around with the little arrows. So I'm just going to click and basically get it up here. And this is now moved. However, I don't really want this to have as my cover image. I can click here where it says image full width, and I can see what options I have. So maybe I could have it centered, for example. Or maybe I could have image with text on the left or on the right. What I want to do is actually have text on image because I really like this view. And I'm going to copy the title and just put it up here. So it looks kind of like a headline, which I really like. But I don't like this image. So what can I do? I can click select image, and I have a lot of options in terms of what to pick. We have the built-in library here from TalentCraft about different topics. So maybe I could go in here and pick something. Or if I have uploaded images previously, I can click on my library and click here on browse or drag and drop files, and I can upload my own images and use them. I can use stock images. I can search for a prompt and it will search on any of these providers for stock images to use, or AI images. And here I see a lot of images. And these images were basically created in previous sessions and in this one. So I actually like this one here. So I'm going to pick this, but it's not like in the correct position. So very easily, what you could do is that you could just move it around. Very easy. So I'll click on reposition. And let's say I like it here and click apply. And there. Now I have my image here. Super good. And again, you can use your own. I have text and I have different types of text as well that I can use. So no worries here. You can change it based on what you want. But what I wanted to show you is that the text here, for example, here's something you can do. Since we're talking about AI, this seems to be like a title here. So I like it. But what I will do is click on AI after I select it. And of course, here's your standard text editor, right? So you can change different things. But I can use AI to change the tone, or I can use AI to translate it, or I can use AI to continue or make it shorter or maybe make it longer. In my case, I'm going to make it a bit longer. So it's going to rewrite it just so it's a bit more verbose. And again, you can work a lot with this. I also have my flashcards here. Now my flashcards can be set in a grid or a stack. And basically the way these work is you turn them around, you see they have an image on the front, and usually you have text on the back that goes along with them. Again, same idea, you can change the front, you can change the back to whatever you want. And you have a mini quiz here. Now this can be on different types. The way this works is the system is going to read through all the content that is already provided, and it's going to create a quiz for this. You always have the ability, of course, to change and add your own media here, or you can edit it, change the answer, delete maybe one of them if you don't like, add a new one. And as you see here, I always have the ability to click on undo and actually bring it back to where it was. We know already that you can move things around, but here's another thing you can do. Instead of using the arrows, if I know this has to go in the 5th position, just click here and move it directly to the 5th position. So absolutely doable. And of course, you see it gives me image. So it's created a lot of different things for me. the AI will always be here. So if I want, I can click again on the AI and basically ask it to create more things for me. So extremely viable. So if this is ready, and if I'm happy with what has been created, I can actually return back here to my course, and I can actually rename this part as well. So I can say that this was AI created and save it. So now it will appear here in my course, already created by the AI, and I can leverage that and I can see how it looks like. Of course, everything Theo said before about editing in terms of the looks or in terms of how it's going to look in different devices, all of these features are still available there, even though we used AI. And again, it's not at any point stopping you. You can use even more features, either of your own or AI, to leverage that. Now, Theo, I know we have more things to show, right?
Yes, we do. So let me just take over and share my screen once more. And with the next thing that I'm going to show you, I'm also going to answer Simon's question, who asked if we can export TalentCraft contents in PDF. Well, in this case, this is not possible, but it's something that we have in mind and our product team has in mind. So definitely any feedback that you have, please bring it forward and we will definitely have a chat with our product team. In fact, usually after the webinars is when we sit down with them and we relay all your feedback, your ideas, and we are very known of having a very open ear and having developed many features based on your feedback, like the training matrix, for example, if you have used it. Now, back to the question. So Simon, the answer is no, but I promise that I'm going to show you the opposite, how you can import a document from your library to TalentCraft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a TalentCraft unit. And this time, what I'm going to select is import from document. So click on it, and you see that I already have a couple of documents here that I have tried. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my document right there. So drag and drop it. And as this is processing, what you'll see is that the moment that this is uploaded, I can select it and I can choose which type of engagement I want. I'm going to go for medium because I don't want to have extremely high detail. I don't want everything on that document, but I don't want just the overview. I just want a very fair amount of information, which will create that unit. And in the meantime, as the AI is doing its job and does its magic and creating the content, I'm going to show you exactly what I tried to use. So let me just have a look right there and just bring it on my other screen. So bear with me a quick moment. So that should be it. So yep, there you go, along with my messy desktop. So this is the document that I imported. So basically, I'm getting TalentLMS to talk about itself. So let's see how good that AI is for it. So going back into my portal right here, you will see that it will start adding content. Now, this is not a task that should take just a couple of seconds. It takes a few minutes. And of course, it depends as well on lots of items like the PDF, your internet connection. And at this point, we are working on a portal which is used at the same time for testing behind the scenes. So we have many fingers touching the same pie. But at this point, you will see that we have already started using the PDF to provide content. So you can see that it has already added a text, an image, further text as well. It keeps going on and on. While it's working, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you again, just as a reminder, that you can hover on anything that you want and you can change its position. So if I want this paragraph, for instance, to just be just a paragraph or just a heading or just two columns so I can have different content in one page or another, or just a motivation speaking. Let's say that you have a quote that you want to use. You can always go ahead and change what the type of text that you have looks like. But of course, again, I'm just presenting here how it works. It's nothing that I could really use as a course right now, because what I need to do is wait for the AI to finish and then go back, have a look at it, and of course, change the position, the type of contents, and of course, reorder and add something if I want to. But I don't want you to just look at a blank screen right now. So what I'm going to do is stop creating. And then, of course, I can go back, edit, and I can go and import another document and use that as well. So I hope that helps. And since we're moving into the, let's say, more detailed section of the webinar, where Nick will show you how to work with all of those section options from scratch, I'm going to just bring forward a question that I found right here from an anonymous friend that says, is there a way to make it more colorful? The answer is yes. Nick will show you. But just to very quickly answer your question here, on the settings wheel, you can go ahead and play with the different colors. So I can go ahead and have a vibrant red if I want for my accent color. And the accent color is what you have in all of the elements that are marked with a solid color. So Nick will show you that again. So I'm stop sharing and passing the mic to Nick.
Thanks, Theo. And let me once more share my screen. There we are. Again, we're in the same course as before. And we already see the different units that we have created. So the template Theo created, the one I created through the AI, and of course, the PDF that Theo imported. We'll add our last TalentCraft's unit here. And we want to talk about start from scratch. So I'll pick that option. And now I get an empty page. Now, quite interesting here that this is the way that you can use TalentCraft if you like the look of it, or if you really want to create something that looks really modern, really engaging with your material, and maybe you want little splashes of AI here and there, which you can absolutely use. So first off, we have the toolbar. And what we will do is we will use the toolbar at the bottom to add the different elements that we like. So the first one is text. We know already about text, right? So we have different types of text that we can use. And of course, you can edit them however you want. Then we have a list. And again, I just click on that. For example, if I wanted the second list, I would click again, and another text, I would do that. And then, of course, you can move them around or delete them. So you can have a list, again, with bullets, or maybe with a checkbox, or maybe with numbers, whatever you want. And remember, none of these are created with the AI. So this is something that you can manually go ahead and change into whatever you want. But if you like the look and feel, this is how you can leverage it. Now, you can add images. I have a standard image here, but again, I can have it in different ways. So I can have it centered, I can have it full width. And exactly like we did before, maybe I want image and text, so I can put my image here, my text on the other side, and I can reposition them to pretty much change the size. But we're going to just stick with one image for now. And exactly like we did before, select image. I can use something from my library, absolutely. So maybe I want to go to business, maybe I want to pick this one. And this one's going to be used. Or remember that you can always select an image and upload your own. And if you have uploaded something previously, it's going to stay in the library. You can use stock images. And again, you can create just here a prompt and have the AI search and create something for you. So again, this is how you can mix things. You can keep the layout of TalentCraft, which is really engaging, but you can actually mix it up with your own material, or you can have the AI create material for you. So the idea when you start from scratch, it's a bit for the more advanced user, but you can basically mix everything until you get the result that you want. After that, of course, the images, we have multimedia. And generally, when we talk about multimedia, we mean two things, either video or audio. So let's say we wanted audio. And you see, this just shows me the play bar for the audio. Of course, I can change it. I can upload my audio, absolutely. And I can have my audio showing up here. I can even have the playback speed here change. So pretty easy, you just upload your audio clips. Now, if you want video, the system is going to just have a nice video, from YouTube with animals, absolutely fine. But maybe you want to add more, so change video. And you can use YouTube or Vimeo, and you can search for whatever you want, or upload one of your own videos. And the maximum file size is pretty much the same that exists in the normal courses of TalentLMS. So you can add videos as well. I have the ability to add documents. So you see here, it's going to just add a file for me, but I could change that. And actually, I'm going to take the file that Theo added before, because the system remembers we uploaded it, and here it is. And actually, I can have this just showing up within my TalentCraft unit. So really, really strong. And again, you can leverage it however you want. You can add charts. I'm pretty sure Theo showed you that donut chart before. Kind of hungry myself, to be honest. So you could go in here and have a bar chart, or maybe I will expand here, and you can have different types. So maybe I want a pie, because who doesn't like pie? And here are my values. Maybe I don't want them to be A, B, C, D. So maybe I can go here, for example, and change, don't know, change B and have it called AI, and change A to traditional content. So you can call them what you want pretty much. And also you could change their values if you wanted. And maybe I actually do not want E to show up at all. And you see that now these have actually changed to reflect the new percentages. Also, I can add new items if I want. And this can happen with any type of graph as well. So you have your little settings here. Here with the lines, that's a divider. That's really simple. If you want to move from one topic to the other, you maybe want some visual clarity to represent that, you can use the dividers. And you can have the number divider with a little number here, or maybe you just want a plain line, as easy as that. So you could use whichever. So let's say we're going to move this a bit higher and maybe use it here as separator after our multimedia and our document files. You see the question mark. What is this? This is a mini quiz. So you can add question here, and you can have different types, right? I can have match the pairs, I can have fill in the gaps, or I can have multiple choice. The cool thing is that, of course, I can change this completely, have questions, add media, whatever I want. Absolutely. So maybe I want to go here and add this image. I'm sure it does have anything to do with the capital of Italy, but you get the point. And you can have all of this. Another thing with the questions is, and this is the power of TalentCraft, that imagine if I had actually a lot of text here that I created, I could pick that, go to AI, and then tell AI, hey, I want you to create a question about this. So when you start from scratch, it's really powerful because pretty much you can pick and mix different topics. You can have AI, you can have your material, and you can blend them all in a TalentCraft unit. I can have flashcards, which we have seen before. Again, I can change the text, the image, pretty much control however they look. Labeled graphic, which I think Theo is one of his favorite features. You have the image and maybe, I can click on it to put a marker. So maybe I can say here, road, I guess. This goes far. So I can have this, and basically when you click on it, it's going to show up. And also, I have the ability to add a process, which you have already seen, right? The different steps that exist here. And of course, you can add media to it, or you can delete it. So again, it can be however you want. Something that we haven't seen a lot is tabs. So the system can create tabs for you, which, you can rename. So here it says about blockchain, and here it says about 5G. And quantum computing. So I like this. Can I call this quantum computing? Yes, I can. So instead of being called tab 1, tab 2, this one's called quantum computing. So you have your tabs and you can basically move around. Of course, you can edit the text, you can edit the content, right? Or something that I really like, instead of tabs, you can have accordion, which is one of my favorite views because they're kind of bunched up together and you can just open them and expand them and see the information. And as always, you can add more, right? So basically, you have no limitations here. And last, you have the ability to add sections. It's the one with a big arrow. What is the section? Essentially, you might have used sections in the classic kind of setup of courses in TalentLMS. Kind of the same idea. A section is used to break up into logical parts the content that we have available. So I have a section here. My learner has to click continue. to continue. But as you see, I have the little gear. And basically, when can they click on the continue button? Always. So this is just to give them a little pause so they just don't scroll over it and they stop and click on the continue button. Or maybe when they complete directly the block above. In my case, this is the accordion. Or if they complete all blocks above. I'll set it to the block above. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it a bit up. And maybe I want to have this, and this is very common actually in terms of setup. You might choose to have this basically after your test. So maybe you have a mini quiz in here, and then you have your section, and you can tell it, okay, people are going to continue when they complete the quiz. It's super easy to do, absolutely working, and very nice. Now, Theo showed you already the preview where you can just see how it looks in different orientations, different devices, right? So you can know how this is going to adjust. Next to this, I have the little kind of symbol for my contents. Basically, I'm having a table of contents, and it can take me to whichever part, of my content exists. I can have this show up or not. It's entirely my choice. And in terms of customizing it, I remember somebody had a question. Theo said, can we make it more bright or more colorful? The basic layout remains as is, but for sure we can affect some things. So the font is something that a lot of people might want to change to something that fits them better. So maybe we use Railway. You see straight away, it worked. And I can change the spacing as well to make it, more spread out or more compact. And I can change the accent as well. I'm always partial, to be honest, to a bit of lime yellowish color. So you see straight away this changed. And my table of contents, which is here. Do I want this to be shown? Well, if I don't want it, I uncheck it and it's not going to show up. And there you have it. This is how you can create a course from scratch. And remember, you can add multiple times, whichever of these different units you want. Let's say subunits, really, in your TalentCraft. But also at any point, you can just go in here, click on AI and tell AI, hey, create for me flashcards about, and I can actually enter a prompt. Now, speaking about prompts, there was a question about it from Mark, and I really appreciate the time you took to actually elaborate on your initial question. I want you to remember which this question makes a lot of sense, and basically it's about how verbose we have to be or how detailed we have to be when we're giving out a query to AI. Quickly, we have to say that the more detailed you are, the better it's going to be. But this is not like a large language model. For your example, you're using Copilot. I'm personally using Copilot a lot as well. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. However, I want you to remember that TalentCraft serves a different purpose than Copilot, for example, which basically means that you can use it with prompts. You can go as detailed as you think it will stop it from just expanding or becoming too generic on a subject. So what I would personally do is start with something that is kind of medium in terms of length or complexity when it comes to a prompt. And if I feel like I could get more, I could probably increase it a bit. But because it's not trying to generate only one thing, as for example, Copilot would do, or, ChatGPT would, instead, it's trying to generate images, flashcards, it's trying to generate different types of content. Then if we go to a point where the prompt is too advanced, then we won't get a uniform type of content in there. So I kind of hope this makes sense, but I'm pretty sure Theo has something more to talk about, right?
Correct. Yes. So let me just share my screen once more. And before moving on to the credits that I just want to touch base on, let me just quickly answer a question from Sonia, who says, the course that I created, is there a whole course or just a unit? The template contains a lot of sections. So if that a course, are there many units? Basically, let me clarify that. So what we are making, Nick and I, you see on my screen right now, that's we are making different units within the same course. The course is called Let's Talk About TalentCraft. And Nick started with the units, then I took over and added another one, then Nick added another one as well. So all of those are TalentCraft units were within the same course. So in this case, what you are looking for is units. Now, do you want each course to have one unit of TalentCraft and the units that could be, for example, content, just another video, presentation, iframe, a test that's I've been discussing with some people in the Q&A on the chat. So you can add more units, different units than TalentCraft. Doesn't have to be a course, it can be a unit. But of course, if you only want your course to have a single unit of TalentCraft and that being a course, of course you can. So TalentCraft is a unit like all of the other type of units that you can have in TalentLMS. I hope it helps. Now, let me just jump into one final detail before I talk about credits. Now, you see here that there is a button which is called Publish Course. Why? Because everything is draft. And you can easily see it. If I go back and leave here and go back to my courses, you see this course, which is the one that Nick and I, we've been working together today, is inactive. So nobody can see it, nobody can find it except me, Nick, and of course, anybody else who's involved in making the course. So if I go back into the course and go edit, what I need to do is publish the course. So now that I have published my course, you will be able to share it with learners. You see that the option here is successfully done. Now, it can be shared by my learners. You can assign it manually to them. They can go to the catalog and see it. So now it's a course available to my users. Before, it was a course privately owned and used. That means that only people who participated in making it, or anybody who has the permission to see all the courses, only those people would have the option to go and use it. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that this also gives you a sense of comfort in the sense that, well, I don't want to finish the same course today. I want to work in multiple courses, or I don't want to have like a 12-hour day to create a course because I have lots of things to add, right? So that will allow you to step back, take a breath, do something else, come back to the course without the fear of somebody looking at it, starting going through the training and seeing it halfway. So always at the end, publish the course. Now, let's talk about credits. I've seen some questions on the chat, and definitely we're here to help navigate through the credit system. Now, like everything, AI consumes power and also consumes its own credits as you want, so that way it will be able to create the content. And that's why there is a credit system in place. Now, the most important part though is to understand why we have credits. Because importing documents, for example, is a very heavy duty task for the AI. So it needs more credits and more resources in order to be able to do the job. Or creating a new piece of content like flashcards, that's pretty much nothing. So that has the lowest pretty much credit consumption. So everything works with credits when it comes to TalentCrafts, and credits can be very quickly and easily identified if you hover on the button right here. So let me just go back and go to the course options here and then publish the course. So give me a second to do it. So if I go back, for instance, let me go and just change it, edit, and yep, not preview, sorry. I'm just trying to figure out why I was clicking there. But the moment that I just went back, you saw that the AI credit balance was available there. So again, we are in a testing environment, many fingers on this pie. So that's why that button wasn't there. But for you, it should be there right the first moment. The point is that you can hover or you can click on the AI credit balance button. And you see here that I have pretty much a very big amount of credits for lots of courses to have created. And trust me, this is a test account, so we have many people creating random things with AI as we are working on making it, of course, more suitable as we go. But the point is that you have the option to see your balance here. You have lots of credits based on your plans, and you have the option here to just click to open the breakdown. The breakdown is like the menu. When you go in a restaurant, you see the price of the things. So here, for instance, importing from documents, high, consumes up to 600 credits. I chose medium today, so up to 500 credits. Generate a full page with AI, 300, or as I told you, the low maintenance ones. For example, let's say make it longer, make it shorter, creating tabs or a process or a question, that's pretty much not even worth looking at because it's so little the consumption that it has. But again, when you work with documents, definitely be mindful because it does consume quite a substantial amount of credits. At the end of the day, it's creating a whole unit from a single page, right? Now, what happens if you want more credits, if you run out? Well, you have the option to click here, send request, and that would be from the super admin of your portal. So they can go ahead, upgrade, add credits as they need to. Now, I know though that many of you, as we have released TalentCraft very recently, you may have tried using TalentCraft, playing with the AI, just figuring out what can be useful for you and what not. And I know that some of you might have consumed your credits or might be very low or might be mindful about your credits. Well, send us an email. Anastasia will put the direct email address for us in the chat right now. That is success@talentlms.com. And we are here to help. Let us know what the issue is, what credits you've been using, what you've done, and definitely we will be able to take it further, chat with you, and obviously help you out. We want you to use TalentCraft. We want you to try it out. So if you have any concerns about your credit consumption trying out TalentCraft, drop us an email, again, success@talentlms.com. Now, one thing that I would like to share with you, and then we'll go straight into your Q&A right here, is this. We have a podcast which you might already have heard, you might have already seen on our pages. So there is a new podcast, and there's a season 2 of our regular podcast. It's called Keep It Simple, and we invite experts in order to share their wisdom, their best practices, and their success with all of you. So this time we do invite learning and development consultants, instructional design, and fellow podcaster as well, Dr. Heidi Kirby, and she shares her experience and gives us actionable course creation advice. So what better podcast to listen to right now about creating courses with the ability to get advice from an expert and then go try it in TalentCraft. So remember, Keep It Simple is available in all, of course, the TalentLMS website, but as well as major streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Podcasts. But we don't stop there. We have another great initiative that we would love you to participate, and that is the Training Excellence Awards. Now, this year's Training Excellence Awards by TalentLMS are now open. And this is where we celebrate, and this is where we reward training wins. And of course, your wins through your training. Enter for free by August the 29th. So just a few days to enter and have your story recognized worldwide. Of course, for the podcast and for the awards in the chat right now, you will see 2 links from Anastasia. So feel free to explore the podcast. Feel free to submit your journey with training and talent LMS for the awards. And we're looking forward to engaging with you in all available platforms. So let me stop sharing and let's have Nick take control here of the Q&A for the first question. So Nick, over to you.
Sure. And actually, the first question here is from Aidan. Let me share my screen as well. And actually, they're asking if you could create a quiz at the end of the course, which would only let the user complete the course once the questions have been asked correctly. Yes, you could, but probably you're better off not doing that in TalentCraft. Because probably if you're going to create such a quiz, one of the things you really want to see is your metrics. So probably you really want to see how your learners went ahead and completed the quiz, how many got correct, which questions were more commonly correct. So maybe you know how to change your approach, other topic to focus on, for example. So if the metrics are really important to you, what I would recommend, just add the normal quiz, really. So add learning activities, test. There you go. And you can create whichever type of test you want. So after they go through all the TalentCraft content, then they're going to have a test. And this basically they have to complete in order to, get certified and finish their course. So this way you have even more content types you can use. And actually not only that, but you have the ability to get full metrics on that, which is probably something you're looking for if we're talking about a test. Let me answer a couple more questions if we can, Theo. Let me see.
There's lots of great questions. So Nick, feel free to pick anything you need. And when you want to have a break, just call me out. I'm also answering questions with Anastasia behind the scenes.
I see here a question from Sonia, which is actually follow-up to what I was just saying. So there we go. I just explained how to create the test in the normal way. Correct. But what if I want to use AI to get the questions from the content we added in the units? I mean, depends on how you want to handle it. So if it's only one unit and it has a lot of actually content in it, then you could go in here and basically, let's go to this one that has a lot of content, right? So I could pick all of this and quite a bit of text. So I could pick all of this and then tell my system, hey, create a question, which is actually going to create a question. Then maybe I can repeat it to get a second one. And nobody stops me from basically just copy pasting the questions into an actual test. So, it's asking here, what's the persistent ticket in customer service? I could go in here in the actual test, create a multiple choice, and basically navigate between these two and copy paste, which is something that you could do, right? So that would be doable. I'm not sure if that is, in terms of time, the best thing you can do. It's absolutely down to you how you feel like you want to use it. Now, there were a lot of questions for credits, but I see Theo answered most of them. Now, I see here there is another question from Tegan, and basically we have technical training for employees and need to force users to see a piece of the unit. I understand completely. So how the continue button works? Great question. So again, it depends on how you want to set it up. In my example here, I use the continue button and then I put it after the test, so people had to get the test successfully in order to continue. First off, could I add more? Yes, I could do that. So let me just give myself more space. For sure, I could add 1, 2, 3 more sections, right? So I can have more continue buttons if I want. However, remember that the format from TalentLMS, when it comes to creating units with TalentCraft, aims to be more at engaging content. So here's what I would recommend. If you want to have a lot of content that you want people to actually take, not skim through, not skip. Since you're going to have the content anyway, who stops you from developing this into different units? So you can create smaller units and break up the content into smaller pieces, because then you can actually have the people take the course into the order that you have set these pieces up, and they will have to go through all of this. So it's down to whether you want a really big thing that they might see or they might just skim through, as opposed to giving them chunks that they can also do in a more bite-sized way, which is going to make their life, easier, and they can approach the training more modularly as well. So your decision, but this is what I would do personally. I would just create smaller TalentCraft units and leverage that in order to make sure that people actually follow through. Because, within these units, maybe I don't want the test to be at the end. I want it to be here. And maybe I want in between these two to actually go ahead and add an assignment, which maybe I wanted it here. So this way you get all the tools at your disposal, you get all the variables, you have the ability to leverage both TalentCraft and the traditional way that we have been creating courses until now. So I hope that makes sense. Theo, do we have more questions?
Yes, so let me just share my screen and answer a few from my end as well. And first, quick one from Sonia. Can I create a SCORM directly in TalentLMS? I'm afraid no, because to create a SCORM, you need a SCORM creation tool. But what I would suggest is look at TalentCraft as a good way to transform from your score authoring tool, which probably is external, and again, another subscription for your budget, just to TalentCraft, because you will see that there's a lot of similarities in many popular authoring tools with the unit types that you have in TalentCraft. So quick answer is no, but I would invite you to have a look at TalentCraft from the scope of transferring your scores over here. Now, just a couple of few questions. There's a lot of great questions coming up. And again, we're trying to answer as many as possible. Jonathan, can you use an image in the matching quiz section? So I understand what you're talking about. So let's go and add a quiz here. Question, you mean? And hover, and I'm going to remove the sidebar here. Hover and then match the pairs. So here you can add media. So you can select an image, for instance. I'm going to do the little hedgehog there, but it's not exactly that. So you can have an image, but you cannot have here, for example, the YouTube icon and then match it with YouTube. So in this case, I would recommend not doing that, but doing a multiple choice. And from there, have the image and say, what does the image represent? YouTube, Vimeo, Google, or anything else. And from the image, they choose that is Google from the list of right and wrong options. So I hope that's kind of helps there, just as a workaround for that. Jeff, do we get charged credits when we are building or testing the capabilities, or when the course is finally published? Well, it's part of creating the course, right? So you get charged for credits every time you create something with the AI. But again, one thing that I want everybody to remember here is that TalentCraft is something that we invite you to use, invite you to explore. So if Jeff or anybody else here has concerns about the consumptions of credits when you are testing, you're creating, and you're at the beginning of using TalentCraft, again, our email is open, success@talentlms.com, and we will do our best to help you out. So don't worry too much about it. Another anonymous friend here. Can you please show me how a unit ends and notifies a user to move to the next unit? Just you click, or is there an exit button? Let me just quickly preview and you'll see what I mean. You can very easily create a new section here. And of course, that's what Nick has demonstrated before. But if I just go and preview here, you have the option to see, again, I'm gonna lose the sidebar. You have the option as well to see that you need to complete the above content first, of course, and then you have the option to continue, go to the next one, and so on and so forth. And when you go and edit, of course, when you go to the sections, if I just jump on one right here, you have the option to go to the wheel here. You have to lock it or unlock it, and then you can choose if it's always going to allow you to move to the next part, block the next part unless the previous one is completed, or all blocks above are completed. So you have pretty much the ending of the course. Give it a try, and of course, let me know or let us know in our email if you need a bit of further help. Jenna, splitting the document in 3 parts is a good idea. Thank you for that. Yes, I hope that it will work. So for anybody else in the background, we were talking offline on the chat here with Jenna about having to upload a document in, if you remember again, the document uploader here, which was 16 pages. So that was a very brave decision there. And of course, that didn't create the outcome that was expected. So ideally, just go ahead and split the document. Anybody, not just Jenna, anybody, just go ahead and split the document in 2, 3, 4. Like a document of 5, 6 pages would be a good candidate for a unit, because also a document of 16 or 20 pages, if it creates a unit, is going to be a tremendously long unit. So you want the content to be broken down. You want to encourage people to do micro-learning. So if, for example, they want to leave the course, they go back, they do whatever else they do, they jump in a meeting, and then they go back, of course, they jump back into the course, and they work with the course. One final one, and then we're going to call it a day, because we want to be respectful of your time as well. Jenna, if you use a ton of credits, you know the deal. Our email, success@talentlms.com, and we'll help. Is it possible to disable scrub in video lesson then? Maybe JavaScript perhaps. Arthur, this is something about JavaScript and CSS that we cannot comment on right now, but we're looking to expand the integration opportunities in the future. So again, stay tuned. Brilliant. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for all of your questions. And again, Our email is open, success@talentlms.com, and see more webinars on our website, which is talentlms.com/webinars. You'll see the recording of this one here. We're going to send it to you by email. So keep your eye in your inbox in the next few hours. And of course, we're here to help and answer any question. Anastasia has done a brilliant job behind the scenes. Nick as well, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Anastasia. And of course, thanks to all of you that attended. I hope this was like really interesting for you as well.
I hope that as well. And one final favor or question to you. Please reply to the survey that you're going to receive now by chat, and you're going to receive it in the email when you get the recording. Your feedback for this webinar helps us create more webinars geared towards what you want. So your feedback would really help us, and it really just takes a couple of seconds. Thank you, everyone. Take care and see you in our next webinar. Bye-bye.